Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think we will get started. Apologies for the delay. We were just waiting for a few more folks to join in. So I think we'll get started now. Thank you very much for taking time to join us in this webinar. My name is Dan Sidambaram. I'm a director at Citrus Consulting Services. I'm based here in Dubai. I do have my colleagues, Mohammed Basha and Rajesh Radhakrishnan, who will also be joining me in delivering this webinar. So just a general housekeeping, we've kept everybody on mute. In case if you have any questions as we go through the webinar today, please feel free to put your queries in the Q&A section. We will gather up and we'll answer them towards the tail end of the webinar. We have, this is the agenda that we're going to be driving for the webinar today. We've classified them into three categories. I'll run through the basic introduction, and then Mohammed Basha will run through the platform platform offerings, deep dive, and Rajesh will take us through our offerings at Citrus, what are our offerings. Just to give you a bit of a background, Citrus Consulting Services, we're a consulting and a services organization. We are a very strong partner with VMware. We're present in Riyadh in Saudi as well. We cover all three major markets: Riyadh, Jeddah, as well as Khobar, essentially your central province, eastern and western provinces as well. We have a team locally there in Saudi who deliver the consulting and the professional services work for the customers based in Saudi Arabia. So let's get to the core subject for this webinar. Now, the talk of the day is, of course, COVID-19 and the level of disruptions that it had created around the world, especially in our personal and our corporate life. It has created a huge amount of disruption. Working from home is a new norm. Enterprises are scrambling around trying to make their workers productive, remotely. So it had created definitely has created a havoc. And like I said, enterprises are scrambling around trying to make their workers or employees productive while they're working from home. Now, if you look at some of the enterprises, they're fully prepared because they've had BYOD, bring your own device policy, or a remote working policy in some shape or form and in a well-established format, and they've been practicing it for some time. Plus, these are enterprises who move most of their applications onto the cloud. It becomes easier for them to enable remote access. All you have to do is just pick up your laptop, just go home, work from home, or use your own device, connecting to the application, start working remotely from home. But it's only a very small portion of the enterprises today if you look at it. But if you look at the vast majority of the enterprises, they're in the difficult position. They're the ones who have not had a clear BYOD policy or enabling remote working mechanisms. So they're the ones who are in the difficult spot right now. And what we are proposing, or the solutions that we're proposing, are essentially targeting that segment of the customers. Now, those customers think that a digital workspace solution is quite complicated, or enabling digital workspace into their, or bringing digital workspace into their organization is quite complicated, primarily because, we're dealing with varieties of applications that are homegrown, or applications that are hosted on-premise in the data center, or applications that are sitting on the cloud, offered as a software as a service. So there is no sort of one category of applications. You have like plethora of applications, right? So managing those applications in a unified way and giving the best possible user experience is always a challenge. So that's point number one. And point number two, different types of users. You have employees, you have contract workers, you have remote workers, you have seasonal workers, you have varieties of users, right? So bringing them all under one platform is, again, has its own set of challenges. The third is the devices, the number of devices, the variety of devices. We have people using Windows operating system. You have people using, Mac operating systems. You have people coming in with the handheld devices like iPads and tablets, or your phones, iPhones or Android phones. So giving a unified user experience across different form factors is also a complicated thing, right? Then comes the data part. You're dealing with sensitive data. You're dealing with, personally identifiable information within your organization. So how do we manage the data, especially when people are working from remote, sitting in different places and not being monitored or governed? How do we ensure there is no data leakage, which is the most common problem that we hear from the customers, especially when they're trying to, adopt BYOD, bring your own device, policy. How do we manage that? And then comes the identity and access management. How do we handle identity and access management, especially when people are coming in over the internet remotely, connecting into my data center, trying to access our business applications? How do we securely authenticate, authorize, and serve those employees' requests? So this, in a kind of way, created a monstrous a problem to be solved by the IT team. And today, if you look at it, IT team is working overtime, trying to look at the best possible solution and the solution that they can quickly implement so they can enable work from home for all of their employees. Because whether we like it or not, governments have, across the globe, governments have started enforcing lockdown measure to stop the spread of the virus. So people are running around trying to look at the least resistance path, a solution which has a very sort of shorter implementation timeline, something we can quickly get it up and running, something which we can enable it so people can at least start working, and we'll figure it out at later stage, right? So IT is running around trying to figure something out. Now, knowingly or unknowingly, what they have now created is a problem which is going to happen or unfold in the future. So the simplest solution people go out and implement is the VPN solution, right? So what happens is all you have to do is just distribute the VPN clients, send it out to all the employees, and tell them to install it, use the VPN profile. Now start connecting into our corporate network, start accessing the applications. Now, many of these VPN vendors, of course, they will enable the VPN clients to be installed on varieties of devices, Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Android OS. You can install the client, you can start using it. Now, but it does not solve the underlying challenges. For example, how do you manage the data leakage? How do you manage the application support? Applications that are hosted on premise, applications that are hosted on the cloud. How do we manage all of these things? And then from security standpoint, when you enable VPN access to all the workers, you have to realize that you're expanding your perimeter, enterprise perimeter network now. So your weakest point here is your employees' devices that are connected over the internet into your corporate network, right? So it might solve the current challenge, but then it creates a problem, for you in the future. So we only recommend this as a stopgap, but we don't recommend this as a long-term solution, right? So some of the customers do understand this, and they started, thinking about, okay, this is fine as a stopgap, but can we start thinking about long-term solutions? Because we don't know how long this is gonna go on. Work from home is going to be a new norm. So this is a required or essential service within the IT function, right? So hence we are introducing VMware Horizon and Workspace ONE. So VMware Horizon and Workspace ONE is an offering from VMware. As a market leader, what VMware has done is they had anticipated a similar trend way back in the past because as the workforce kind of expands and it goes global, work from home or working remote becomes an essential part of any organization, right? So what they had done is they've gone through all the list of challenges that an enterprise might face in terms of managing different varieties of applications, managing different types of users, different types of devices, and more importantly, the security aspects or data leakage aspects, governance, policies and control mechanisms. So they've gone through all of these challenges, and they have put together a platform which can serve or which can solve all of these challenges. So it's not a point solution, but rather it's a platform or an ecosystem which helps you to specifically address remote working or enabling or increasing the productivity of your work from home employees, right? So, for example, to manage applications, you have the application catalog, which can give you a list of all applications that you would want to publish to your employees, be it Salesforce.com for your Salesforce or CRM, or be it your SAP for your ERP core application, or even if it is a .NET-based, a browser-based application for a simple timesheet tracking or attendance tracking, right? So all of these can be brought under a single catalog where you get into your interface, you have everything there available for you. And in terms of users and the identity and access management, the identity access management is part of it, part of the whole solution or the offerings. So you can define your policies, you can define your users and user groups, you can integrate them with your existing domain controllers or any LDAP services. And more importantly, on the data leakage or the data loss side of things, you have mechanism in place where the data does not leave your enterprise perimeter. Though users are sitting at remote or employees are sitting remotely at home trying to get their job done, everything happens within the perimeter, within your enterprise perimeter, and essentially they only get the control to act on those application screens. Data does not leave physically. Data does not leave your enterprise data center perimeter network. Yeah. So what they have been able to do is um, uh, stitch it all together and bring in a simplest form of user experience, so you can enable remote working for your employees anywhere from any device or any time, ensuring the user experience is intact, and more importantly, without compromising your enterprise security. Now, so to double click into the product portfolio and go into the nuts and bolts of what you can, what you cannot do, and more importantly, what is it that we bring to the table as Citrus to make this all happen for you, make your life much easier. We have done a lot of heavy lifting. We can make this all possible. To take it further, to double click further into this, let me introduce my colleague Mohammed Basha. Over to you, Basha.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. As Dan mentioned, the challenges that most of organizations are facing these days actually is because we all know that all organizations are getting orders from the governments and from the CEOs, CIOs to enable their employees to go out and start working from home. But during the last couple of weeks, actually, I had multiple discussions with our customers, and I tried in this slide actually before speaking about the features that VMware Horizon and Workspace ONE can give to you, I want to speak about the challenges that most of the organizations are having. So in this slide, I try to put all types of users that exist in any organization, which is desktop users, laptop users, which is most probably a corporate device, and then mobile users, which is personal devices for users to access the corporate resources and the corporate applications. What are the challenges that face every type of these users? So the biggest challenge, which is highlighted by most of my customers, was actually the desktop users, because desktop users, these are the users that have to go to the office to do to get the job done. You cannot give them the desktop and ask them like to connect from home and start working, because most probably it's a corporate device that should be stayed and on the premises. So this is the biggest challenge, and with VMware Horizon and Workspace ONE, we have some solutions to address this challenge. One of the second biggest challenge is the onboarding new users and contractors. So we cannot tell how long this situation will stay, and definitely business will have to carry on. And in that case, you have a new hiring, for example. You have a contractor who's contracted for some project, and he has to finish some project in some time, and you have to give him some access to your corporate application to be able to work. So onboarding those employees, how would you adjust that, especially that most of the laptops are out of stock at the moment, and even the IT department should be working from home. So who's going to do the imaging and preparation of the laptops to give it to those contractors or the new employees? This is another huge challenge that was addressed by our customers. On top of that, is there a solution to manage all these types of devices, either corporate, personal device, different platforms like Windows 10, Mac OS, iOS, Android for personal devices? And if there is a solution to do that, is that solution easy to be deployed in your environment? That's a big challenge, because yes, my customer is saying, okay, if you have the solution, but how long would you take to deploy it in my environment? So that's another challenge that most of the organizations have for the time being. As Dan explained, VPN was an easy, fast solution for most organizations to give their employees remote access to the corporate resources. But however, I believe that's going to bring a lot of security risks and a lot of new problems to organizations in the future. So that's a big challenge actually that was created because of the situation and because of IT departments were trying to figure out remote working as fast as possible. One more thing, lifecycle management. So even for those organizations that gave laptops to employees and asked them to start working from home, managing those devices, pushing applications, pushing policies, pushing patches to those devices. Most of the lifecycle management solutions are connected to the network, and whenever the PC or the laptop is connected to the network, so then you'll get the patching and the policies. But in that situation, everyone is connected from his home. So we need some solution to address this challenge as well. And coming back to the bring your own device, which was highlighted by Dan, and I believe it's a very important topic now for organizations to take care about and start enabling for their employees. You should start enabling your employees to use their own devices to access the corporate application. But you have to take care that onboarding those devices would be very easy for the users to be done themselves, because you don't have the help desk team sitting in offices to help them, to assist them to do that. So it should be fast and easy for users to onboard their personal devices. And on the other hand, IT departments have to make sure that they are securing enough all the applications and the corporate data that they have allowed their users to get each of them using their personal devices. With VMware Horizon and VMware Workspace ONE, in addition to our expertise implementing those solutions to multiple customers in a complex environment, so we can address these challenges in a very fast manner, in a very secure way, to enable you to allow your users to work from home and work remotely. I'll take every solution, and I'll just cover some of the features of these solutions actually to highlight those challenges. How can we address those challenges that was mentioned earlier? So VMware Horizon is a leading solution in the VDI market, where it can enable IT departments to deliver and virtualize any type of application and any type of desktop, and give access to employees to those applications and desktops from anywhere in a very secure way. And speaking of the desktop users, which is the major challenge, as I mentioned, because the physical PCs are sitting on the premises, and now they have to work from their homes. So with VMware Horizon, by deploying VMware Horizon on premises for any organization, you can actually give remote access to those physical PCs from homes using Horizon Client in a very secure channel of communication between them. And actually, my colleague Rajesh will explain in depth how the deployment for that is done and how fast can we deploy that for you to help you to allow that. By this feature and by VMware Horizon, we can guarantee for you that you fix the major challenge that you have, which is the physical desktops. And it's actually we can do it for you in a very fast manner so that you can address this big and major challenge that you have. Moving forward to the second challenge, which is the new employees, where you have to give them a new laptop or a new desktop, where the IT department is not in the office anymore, and you might not have enough laptops to give it to them. So how can you do that? With Horizon, actually, they give us a very flexible model to deploy a new environment on the cloud, where you can use the cloud simplicity, and you can use the fast pace of the cloud provisioning, and you can use the DaaS offering solution, plus the pay-as-you-go model. And in that case, you can address the business continuity model. So whenever you have a new hiring, a new employee, a contractor that you need to give them a desktop access to access some of your premises applications, you can just provision a new desktop on the cloud for him, and he will be able to access it from his own from his own device, and he will be able to do all the work that he requires. In addition to the temporary desktop and applications that you can virtualize and provide for those users to access them remotely and to do the job done. Moving forward to VMware Workspace ONE. VMware Workspace ONE is addressing the rest of the challenges. So the nice thing of VMware Workspace ONE, it can manage any type of device, any operating system, any platform can be managed. All controls can be pushed from a single pane of glass and from a unified platform. The nice thing of Workspace ONE as well is that you can give a unified catalog for your employees where you can put all your applications on this unified catalog, and which will give them a unified experience on different type of devices. So they have to go to one place to access any type of application. If you want to add any new application, you can just add it to this unified catalog, push it for them, and then they can get access to this application in no time. We've spoken about the lifecycle management, which is one major problem that organizations have to take care of, because if you're leaving those PCs without lifecycle management, that would bring a huge security risk for your environment, especially using the VPN clients. So lifecycle management outside of your network with VMware Workspace ONE Unified Endpoint management, you can address this challenge as well. The nice thing, again, managing all types of platforms and managing as well corporate and personal owned devices. So you can cover any type of device and you can bring your own device pretty much easy for your employees. And I'll show you how easy you can onboard a new employee to use his own device to access the corporate resources. The nice thing of VMware Workspace ONE as Horizon, you can deploy it on the cloud, which is very fast and secure solution, it can address the criticality of the situation and how fast you can deploy the solution, and it can give you access for any application from anywhere sitting at your home. One of the challenges that we spoke about, that onboarding the device. So we're saying that, okay, bring your own device. We want to give the user the facility to use his own device, but it shouldn't be complex for this user to do that. And with VMware Workspace ONE, I guarantee for you that in 2 simple steps, he can get all the applications pushed on his device and all the controls pushed on his device by just simply installing the Intelligent Hub application from his app store, and then putting his email address, and then everything will be pushed to his device. And on the other hand, for IT departments, the device will be visible on the management console, and they will have visibility on which device is trying to access which application. In VMware Workspace ONE, they gave us a lot of scenarios that can cover all types of applications that users would like to access from their own devices. So they can do the mobile device management and compliance management. And compliance management is very important, because you won't allow any device to access the organization data unless the device is 100% secure, and you make sure that it's not jailbroken or rooted, for example. You can give email access to employees in a very secured manner, where you can manage every session of email access using the mobile email management through Workspace ONE. Mobile application management and browsing management, in addition to per app tunneling, which definitely address the challenge of using VPNs by giving only a limited frame tunnel session to those applications. Whenever you start them and whenever you terminate the application, the session the VPN tunnel is terminated with it. So you can get access to any unpublished application. You can get access to your corporate resources in an easy and secure way. Content management. So with content management, you can give your employees access to your corporate file servers and your SharePoint file in a very secured way. And with Workspace ONE, you can do that on any device, on any platform, and you can manage it all from a single pane of glass. You can unify all of these applications in a single catalog that you give to users, and definitely with considering the security. So moving on to security, with Workspace ONE and Horizon have a full-fledged security features that you can apply on any type of device, on all the desktops actually. And for example, the encryption, so you can encrypt either the devices if they are corporate, the data you can encrypt it if they are using their personal devices, and even the virtual desktops, you can encrypt them using VMware Workspace ONE and Horizon. You can enforce any types of configurations, password policies and passcode policies, and conditional access features on any type of device that you gave them access to. And more importantly is the data. So you can disable any type of sharing permissions between the virtual desktop, which is sitting on your premises. So if I'm using my personal device trying to access the desktop, I'm not going to copy or paste. I'm not going to move any virus that I have in my personal device to this virtual desktop. And I can disable any pluggable devices to be added for that. This is the limited features of security, but definitely you have a huge number of security features and security controls that you can apply on each type of device to make sure that you're gaining security on the corporate and personal devices. Moving forward to the Citrus offering and how can we help you and assist our customers to deploy these solutions and to utilize these features to address the challenges that we've already discussed. I'll pass the mic to Rajesh to speak about our offers and how can we assist our customers to deploy these types of solutions in their environments in a fast and secure way. Rajesh? Rajesh, we cannot hear you.
Am I audible to you guys?
Yes, yeah. Hi, Rajesh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining to the webinar. And thanks to Dan and Mohammed Basha to explain about the current situation and what are the challenges every organization are facing on this time. And to address these challenges, Citrus, we offer two kind of solutions. One is Horizon solution, which can be deployed in your on-premises or in a cloud. And another one is the VMware Workspace ONE, which is to manage your any kind of mobile devices. And this also can be deployed in on-premises or it can be a SaaS model, which can be deployed in the cloud. So first, going to the on-premises solution by Horizon. So the solutions what we are offering is we can deploy Horizon 7 solution in newer premises on your hardware. And other one is on-premises with our hardware. In your hardware, in the sense, you don't have to buy any new hardware or something. We will deploy the solution with using your existing infrastructure and your all the desktops and everything can be used in this scenario. And another one, in our hardware, which we will be shipping a hardware with all the pre-built configurations of the Horizon, and it will ship it to your location, and our engineer will be visiting your location and configure with your existing network and Active Directory integrations. Then it can be set up. The same way the solution can be deployed it in a cloud solution, which can be on VMC on AWS, like VMware Cloud on AWS solution, or in Azure. So this will be a combined solution of SaaS model plus infrastructure services. So which means you will use the infrastructure from the Azure or VMC on AWS, and the solution will be using by Horizon Cloud. Other one is Workspace ONE. As I mentioned, we can deploy it in your on-premises, in your infrastructure with your hardware, and you can manage your all the mobile devices in your on-premises, and no data will be going out. The other one is a SaaS model, which one is completely on cloud-based. The solution will be deployed in a cloud, and it can be integrated with your on-premises cloud connector, and you can manage all the users' devices. So which is more secure way to handle all the users' data and the email management and everything. So how we are going to deploy the solutions? So we have 15 plus consultants and architects who are very much skilled to do these deployments in your on-premises or cloud-based solution in a single day. So overall, we have deployed more than 50 projects. It's all the major projects in UAE and Saudi region, and it includes VDI projects, VMware Workspace ONE, and SDD solution and hybrid cloud automation solutions, which includes VMware data center virtualization and automation solutions like VRA and HCA solutions like vSAN. Addition to that, we also deployed disaster recovery solutions like Site Recovery Manager, vSphere Replication, and hardware-based solutions. So not only that, we also covers major cloud solutions, AWS, Azure, Oracle clouds. So we have skilled engineers who is ready to do this implementation as soon as possible as per your requirement. Even for this, what the solutions we are offering currently for solving these challenges. If you have any challenges to do cloud-based solutions, we also help there actually. To set up your example, if you want to go with a VMware Horizon Cloud on Azure or AWS, so there is some prerequisites required to set up in your environment in a cloud, which you don't have skill set or engineers available. You can reach to us. We will help you to set up and deploy the complete solution in there. And addition to that, we are one of the first advanced consulting partner for AWS in region and Microsoft Gold partner. And we have a separate team to handle all the NOC and SOC operations, and we can cover it for 24/7 into 365 days, all the operations. And we have many customers opted for this option. We have managed service coverages there. We have service customers who is using managed services, and we have deployed many cloud operations, cloud projects. Like you can see in the screen, all the numbers. Cloud customers, we deployed 35 plus and executed AWS and Azure projects 30 plus. And we have managed service customers, 11 plus customers. So who is getting 24/7 into 365, all the supports from our NOC and SOC. And all our engineers are very much skilled, who has the capability to do all the deployments and design, and all the engineers are certified. So now let's go to the next session where I will explain about the deployment models, which can address very quickly the solution, addresses your concerns currently going on with COVID-19. The first one, which I was discussing, VMware Horizon in your on-premises. So this solution, we can do it in two methods, as I mentioned. One is in your hardware, or we can send our hardware with all pre-built configuration and deploy it. So majorly, these solutions, first solution is like on your hardware, which is focusing on the desktop users tied to their own premises systems. Most of the major companies or organizations, which they don't want to sell the engineers to work from their home with their own devices because of the data integrity. So in that cases, we support that organization to build a solution where they can remotely access, the engineers can be remotely access their desktop systems from their home, from their own devices. So this solution having three components, major components. One is Horizon Connection Server. Another one is UAG, which is gateway solution, Unified Access Gateway, which is very much secure solution. There is no separate license or cost is required. It's integrated with the Horizon solution. And another one is a you need an Active Directory in your organization, and there is a connection server agent, which will be installed on your physical desktops to connect with your connection server to provide a VDI desktops to users. So this connection server, what it will do, it will give the entitlement and the connectivity for each users to their desktop systems from externally through UAG. UAG is one of the efficient security measures for every Horizon VDI solution. It can be on premises, it can be on cloud. So the users will be connected to the perimeter firewall in your organization, and if the load balancer is there, it will reach load balancer, which will manage your connections load. Then the UAG will split the connections if you have a high availability solution over there, or if you can use one UAG, or even if you don't have a load balancer in your on premises, you can cluster these unified access gateways and you can use it. And this UAG will help to fully provide secure connection to your connection server, and from there, who are the users entitled to access their desktops, they will get an access. And this UAG, normally we used to deploy it in a DMZ zone for more security, and this connection server which will be deployed in your on-premises, your private network. So the next solution is VMware Horizon Cloud, which can be deployed in Azure or AWS. We will discuss more on the Azure part, and it's very much similar for the AWS also. So this also having major components. One is a VMware Cloud Connect, which is a SaaS model one, which you have to opt for from VMware, and another one you need a Active Directory in your on-premises, or it can be on your cloud. If you have an on-premises, you can integrate with your cloud Active Directory. Else, you can create a separate Active Directory from Microsoft Azure Active Directory solution, or you can deploy a virtual machine over there and you can configure Active Directory over there. This solution combines the management functionality for Horizon Cloud solution plus Microsoft Azure infrastructure. So you will be using the infrastructure from Microsoft Azure, and you can use all the cost saving options from the Microsoft Azure. We will help you to set up that. So which will allow you to save the cost. Example, you don't have to run the entire desktops for the 24/7 or the entire day once the users are moved out from the office, or once they log out from the systems, you can shut down the machine or you can automate that. So it will save the cost because the machine is not running, you don't have to pay anything to Microsoft. So the scenario or this how it is deployment. The deployment is like you will be having a VMware control plane, which will be on VMware portal. You have to subscribe that, and from there you will configure or you will be integrating with your Azure infrastructure, where you have to put certain parameters which you have to collect from Microsoft Azure portal as a prerequisite. So from there the deployment will be starting, and it's all a orchestrated deployment. So there will be one deployment engine which will be deployed in an Azure infrastructure, and the deployment engine will handle the rest of all the configuration. So once your setup is up and running, you can go to the marketplace and you can pull the base images. It can be on Windows 10, or if you want any Windows 2012 or 2016. So you can pull the images, you can customize it, then you can push it to desktops. And even if you want to do it RDS farms, you have to deploy a virtual machine for RDS server. Then you can set up and configure, and you can integrate with your solution, and you can start using. And this entire solution can be deployed in a single day if all the prerequisites are available there. Even if you don't have the prerequisites met, we will help you to set up the complete Azure infrastructure in a day, and we will help you to set up the complete solution. And this Active Directory part, so if you want to connect your on-premises Active Directory to the Azure Active Directory, you can use ExpressRoute or VPN or MPLS connectivity, and you can integrate with your new Active Directory over there, or you can create as a secondary option. Or if you want to create this solution as a separate entity, that also fine. Okay, the next solutions, it's a VMware Workspace ONE SaaS model. Even this support, we can deploy it in your on-premises. It's very much similar. But in current situation or address your challenges very quickly, the SaaS model deployment is a best solution which can be deployed in a single day. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have the engineers very much skilled, and they are ready to do the deployments in a single day and give all kind of information you need. So this is a completely SaaS model deployment to manage all of your mobile devices. So this is same as VMware Horizon 7 on Azure or AWS. We have to subscribe the solution from VMware Workspace ONE. Then it's having all the required components ready, available. So once you start the deployment from the SaaS model, it will be deploying all the required components in your on-premises, and it will start configuring. So it has three major components. One is a SaaS tenant, which will be in the cloud. Another one is the AirWatch Cloud Connector. This will connect from your SaaS tenant to your Active Directory for the integration. Another one is the UAG, which is Unified Access Gateway, which I mentioned earlier. It gives the provide secure layer access to your infrastructure and provide the connection to all or manage your all the devices. This UEM SaaS tenant has a pre-configured components, and only the customization, whatever parameters you have to choose it, only you have to type it or you have to mention it while you are doing the deployment. And of course, there are certain prerequisites which has to be there in from on-premises to connect it to your cloud connector and Active Directory. So don't worry, we will help you on that also. So once the integration and deployment is completed, all these components will be there. Example, UAG will be there in place, cloud connector will be there, and it will be integrated with your Active Directory. Then the next one is what kind of security we will provide it. So there are two kind of connections you can use it. The one is basic mode, which where the image which is showing is not a basic mode. This is the cascade mode, which gives you more security. So you will be having a two layer of firewalls over there, and you will be having a two layer of UAG. So the first level, the users will be connecting to the firewall in perimeter firewall, then the UAG which is sitting in the DMC zone. Then the next, again, it's going to another firewall, and again it will reach to another UAG edge gateway. So where will be sitting in your internal network. And it has the capability of like a tunnel per app, a tunnel proxy, content gateway, secure email gateway. These are the inbuilt features over there, which will help you to give a secure connection to your mobile devices and manage your emails, SharePoint, and internal wiki pages, or any of the intranet content which is sitting in your on-premises. The other one is a basic model, which normally sits your like perimeter. You will connect it to the perimeter firewall, then UAG will be sitting again on DMC network, but you don't have to configure additional firewall or UAG in your internal network. It will be directly connected to your internal resources. So these are the three kind of solutions which can be deployed very quickly and address all your concerns currently you are facing. And so, as Dan mentioned, VMware is the #1 named leader for this as per Gartner for Unified Endpoint Management, Horizon View for VDA, and other solutions. They are the #1. So that's it, guys. And so the next session is for Q&A. So me and Mohammed Basha will be here to answer any of your queries, and you can reach to us for any kind of support, any kind of solutions you need to deploy it, or any doubts on our mobile number or our email IDs. Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thank you, Rajesh, and thank you, Mohammed Basha. Excellent. So this is, we'll spend the next maybe 10 minutes on the Q&A. Sunana, are there any questions in the Q&A? Excellent. I see. I see a question. So how fast can you address the physical desktop challenges? What are the requirements? If I understand it correct, the question is towards physical desktops, like a user is tied to a specific device or a desktop at the office. How do you address that particular scenario? I suppose that's, if I understand it correct, that's the question. Basha, could you help me answer that question? How would you handle a situation like this where a specific employee is associated to a physical device? They require the device to access all the business applications. How do we handle that situation?
Sure, Dan, and thanks. Actually, the question, I was expecting that question to come actually because, yes, that's like the major challenge for all corporates, and yes, that can be addressed by deploying Horizon on the premises of the customer. And as Rajesh mentioned, we have two offers that we can give to you. So either if you have the capacity, enough capacity on your environment, we can deploy Horizon on your environment, and then your employees will be able to access using a Horizon client from their homes. They will be able to stream their physical desktops to their Horizon client from their home. So if you have enough capacity, we can deploy it on your own hardware. If you don't have enough capacity, we can, for Saudi and Dubai customers or UAE customers, we can get the hardware for you. We can deploy connection server, and then remotely we can connect after shipping the hardware to your environment. We can remotely connect with you and integrate that with your Active Directory and with your own environment to make it work. So thank you for the question. Yeah.
Okay. So to summarize, the answer is yes, even in case of a physical desktop requirement where you need to be able to connect into that physical device to access the applications or files or data, whatever. Using the Horizon solution, you would be able to use any device to connect into your work device and then access that application. So again, it goes back to the security principles where data governance, the data does not leave your organization. Data remains within that physical desktop. From a security standpoint, again, it is controlled through your Active Directory. So user has to authenticate themselves. The authorization mechanism will also get attached to that particular session. So when you come in, the system knows who you are, what you're eligible to access. So accordingly, you can enforce your policies. I think there is another question coming in. Can you help us on cloud preparation if we have no current presence on cloud? I believe this is one of the options which Rajesh had mentioned, wherein we don't have the hardware, we want to go with the cloud option. How do Citrus can help? Rajesh, can you pick this one up?
So we have skilled engineers who is available to set up your cloud infrastructure. So you don't have to worry on that part. We will help you. We will give you the enough information. We will take remote connection or on-premises, and we will set up your complete infrastructure in cloud. It can be Azure or VMC on AWS, and we will help you set up this Horizon solution.
Okay. Excellent. So as Rajesh mentioned, it doesn't matter even if it is a clean slate, not a problem, even if you don't have an on-premise hardware or you don't want any hardware-based solution. We can help you set up from scratch, right from the account creation, setting up your virtual network on the cloud, and establish connections to your data center in case if your applications are running on-premise. We will establish a secure highway between your cloud tenant and your data center in a private mode. So users can connect into your Azure desktop farm to access the applications which are running on-premise data center in a secured fashion. I think there's another question coming in. How can you offer Verizon on Citrus hardware? How would that work? Again, Rajesh, how would that work in case a customer wants to go the on-premise solution, they want a hardware, they don't have the hardware, they want Citrus to provide both hardware as well as the Verizon solution. How would that work?
Yeah, this will work in such a way. All the prerequisite configurations, like a connection server or all the solution components, which will be pre-installed it on our hardware, and we will ship it to your location, and we will come there and stack it and completely set up. Then we will help you to integrate with your local infrastructure with Active Directory or any other, and we will set up this Horizon solution over there, and we will help you to bring up entire VDA stack over there. So, and this can be done very quickly. So only thing is you have to reach to us and give us a call, or you can send it as email, and we will help you. So you don't have to worry on hardware part. The hardware is completely our responsible. So we will come with our own hardware.
Excellent. Excellent. So as Rajesh mentioned, we will build the whole stack, the management components in the hardware which we will ship it out. Once it is rack stacked in your network, we will then set up your VDI farm based on your requirements in terms of applications that need to be, software components that need to be installed on these machines. Are there any other questions?
One more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing to add on so setting up Horizon on the hardware that we can ship to you is that we can offer a desktop as a service to you. So we can do the full management for the hardware, for the desktop, even the desktop. We can give you this offering of desktop as a server, but it will be setting on the desktop as a service, but it will be setting on your premises. So yeah, just wanted to add this point.
Okay. So there's a question coming in, whom to reach out in KSA. Who would be our point of contact for KSA? So you could still reach out to Basha or Rajesh. We have a local sales team based in Riyadh and Jeddah. Depending on your location, we can organize a call considering the current situation. We can have a remote meeting, and we can walk you through the nitty-gritties of the detailed aspects of the offerings, and we can even go through your requirements and give you a quick solution. I'm not receiving any audio. Sunena, there is one participant.
Dan, there is one more question. Sorry, there is actually one more question from our audience.
Okay.
They're asking
how do you manage role-based access and applications, especially in ERP like SAP? Basha, is this something that you could answer?
Yeah. So With the Workspace ONE offering that we've already discussed, we have the identity manager provided by it comes part of the Workspace ONE solution. Actually, we can deploy that and we can integrate that with your SAP or any ERP actually solution authentication mechanism. So we'll just have to understand how the authentication mechanism is working. Is it using LDAP, for example? Is it integrated with your Active Directory? Are you using SAML authentication, or are you using any other protocol to authenticate to SAP? And with the VMware Identity Manager, we can definitely integrate with the authentication mechanism and do the authentication over the Identity Manager.
Excellent. Thank you, Basha. I think we were close to the tail end of the webinar. We've taken a couple of minutes extra, but we started a bit late. Again, I apologize for the delay. In case if there are any questions, or if you want to reach out to us to discuss about your requirements, or you want to talk about the offerings, any of the offerings what we had talked about, please feel free to reach out to Mohammed Basha or Rajesh. Their contact details are there in the presentation. We will also be sharing the presentation after this call to all the participants. So you will have their contact details on that as well. Please feel free to reach out. Definitely, we're here to help. We're here to help you get out of the difficult situations. So give us a shout. Otherwise, please stay home, stay quarantined, stay safe, take care of your family. Hopefully, we come out of the situation, safely. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking time to join us today on this webinar. We look forward to meeting you again in our future webinar series. Thank you.